Hello, I'm Jeffrey Smith. In this lesson, we will be using AutoCAD to design a three-dimensional wooden table that is 72 inches in width, 36 inches deep front to back, and 29 inches in height. Pay particular attention to the extrusion command, where we will be using the tapering function, which means the leg will start out larger and get smaller as it tapers down to the floor. We will also be putting a grommet through the table. You generally see these on computer tables or those that need to accommodate electrical wiring or peripheral devices. You can see from the following animation what the table should look like. We will then finish by putting the table on paper and exporting it for an animation. Please feel free to pause each tool function until you have mastered each part of the multimedia lesson. And good luck!
Once you have AutoCAD open up, go ahead and make sure that we're working in the 3D modeling window. And then what we're going to do is confirm that we have the midpoint in the settings and it's enabled, and you can go to settings and you can see this and just select the box for midpoint. And then go ahead into your top view. Make sure that we're always starting out here in the top view. And there are many different ways to do it on the ribbon above or in the display window. And then we're going to go ahead to the draw command and find the rectangle tool. And we're going to go ahead and type in the coordinate 0, 0 for x and y and press enter. And then type in 72, 36. And that's 36 inches and 72 inches on the x and y coordinate. And if you go to the top, it'll automatically fit it for you. And you should see the rectangle going from left to right. And we want to extrude. This is our surface of our table. So we'll go ahead and either click the icon or go ahead on the command line and type in extrude and press enter. And then we'll select the object. And press enter. And we're going to extrude it at 1 inch, so go ahead and click 1, type in 1, and press enter. And we should have some depth, so if we go to an isometric view, you should see some depth on the object. So then let's get back to the top view after we inspect. And the shaded is the conceptual shading. It's always helpful to visually inspect whatever you are constructing as you go along. And you can also select the revolve icon, and that helps you have a little bit more control. Alright, so let's get back to this top view. Let's get this in the 2D line work in the wireframe, and we're going to go ahead now and construct the legs. So again, we're going to start out at 0, 0 and press enter. And the top of this leg is going to be 4 inches by 4 inches, so type in 4, 4 and enter. And that is underneath the table. So then what we want to do is extrude this. So we're going to make a leg. So you can zoom in, also go to the navigate the window and just click over the rectangle and either click onto the icon or type in extrude and then enter. And then we'll go ahead and select the rectangle, the 4-inch rectangle, and press enter. But before we type in the extrusion depth, we're going to select the taper icon or just type in taper. And taper is where we're going from larger to smaller, or from smaller to larger. In this case, we're going to type in, wants to know the degrees, and we'll go ahead and type that in, which is 2, and press enter. And then the height. And because this is at 0, 0, we're going to have to put a negative number in. So we're going to type in -28 for inches and press enter. And it's really critical that at this point you inspect what we've created. And the leg should be tapering down, larger to smaller, and that it starts at the base of the tabletop. And the most effective way to do this, in my opinion, is to get underneath it with the orbit command and select the icon and just get underneath and make sure that it's not going through the table. And then once you've visually inspected it, let's go ahead to the 2D wireframe, and we're going to essentially mirror this leg and duplicate it. Rather than cutting and pasting, we can confirm the accuracy by going into the mirror command. So you can either select the icon in the modifier or just type in mirror and press enter. And then if you go from top down, it doesn't select everything. And it wants to know the first point. Now we want to make sure that it's at the midpoint here. And you should see a triangle there. And then just go straight up, tangent. You can also just click the top midpoint and press enter. Now we don't want to delete the first one, and it defaults to N. Just type in N and then enter, and you should see 2. So obviously we want 4 legs here. We're just going to do the same procedure, but this time we'll grab the 2 bottom legs, and we'll go from the depth of the table, and we'll do the same procedure. So now we should have 4 legs, and we want to inspect this. Now unfortunately we can't leave it like this, because if you would drag a table like this, the legs would just rip right off. So go ahead and inspect that 4 legs have been extruded and tapered down, and you are essentially done with the first lesson. And before we close out of this, let's get back to the top view and set it up for the next lesson.